What's up, everybody? Welcome back to How It's Done. Today we're going to show you how to add recess cans. We got switches here and a ceiling fan in a room with no attic access. We managed to do this with minimum holes in the ceiling. I was super excited with how well this turned out. We're going to show you how it was done today on How It's Done. Alright, so this client had just purchased this condo, had a switch that they weren't sure what it did. So I came in here, started looking at it. It's got a red wire and a black wire going to it. Black wire has power, red wire has constant power. It's a little weird. I'm assuming at one point they had an outlet here that was controlled by the switch, because there is no other lighting in this living room. With the exception of the holes I just cut in the ceiling for the recess cans. There was no other lights in here. You just have the foyer light and then the dining room light. So yeah, nothing here. I'm going to go ahead and say a lot of the times when you have a switch like this that doesn't seem to do anything, it controls a plug. So what they asked me to do is make this switch control some recess cans. So I'm going to show you how they do have a condo above them, so you don't have attic access. Unfortunately, it is next to impossible to do this without needing sheetrock repairs after the fact, but I'm going to show you how to minimize it, how to run it smart. So one of the things you can do is figure out which way the joists are running. Unfortunately, the joists run two different directions here. In this one, the joists run this way until you get to about here. At this point, they start running this way. So what you can do is strategically place the wires. So you can see I've already run wires here. I'll show you what it looks like up here in the attic, or rather in the ceiling. So there you go. That's what you've got up here. Same thing on these two. So you can easily just shoot the wire from one hole to the other. This one's got some pipes in there, but same thing. You just feed the wire straight through to the other hole. However, getting from this hole to this hole, or future recess can, whatever you want to call it, does take a little bit of work. You are going to have to go through what looks like 3 joists based on the way I measured this out. I'm not going into detail on how to cut the holes. I've done that on other videos. Layout wise on this one, there's really 2 different ways you could lay out the room. You could divide it into thirds and put a recess can basically a third of the way and a third of the way. That's going to be good if you're going to have a lot of furniture and you need it to be spaced a little bit further off the wall. But what they decided to do here is they're also going to have a ceiling fan in the center. It's going to have a light as well. We're only going to add another switch for that, so they'll control the light and the fan by the pull chain. I am going to run a 14.3 to it though, so that in the event that they want to have a separate switch for it in the future, they can do that. But I'm at the moment just going to do a 2-gang switch box. But you're going to have to cut a hole here somewhere most of the time, maybe a couple holes to feed the wire through, unless you have a flex bit. Now these flex bits are super handy, but I will caution you, you need to be careful. Sometimes when drilling, they could go up prematurely, they could go down. When doing it in recess can holes, it tends to be a little easier because you have a little bit more leverage or more angle that you can get it at a really steep, well, not steep, but you know what I mean, a really shallow pitch. To where you can go pretty straight and potentially go straight through. But since they are going to have me add a ceiling fan, what I'm going to do is cut the opening for the ceiling fan and attempt to drill from here over to the ceiling fan, and then from here over to the ceiling fan. And since this is going to be an opening here and there will only be 2 different joists going across here on either side, we should be good. I should be able to make it work and just feed the wires between here and here. And that way the only sheetrock patch they're gonna need to make is where we drop the wire down the wall. And honestly, in 20 plus years of doing this, have not found a way to avoid having to cut sheetrock to drop it down the wall when, you know, when they have a floor above them. The only way I know of doing that, which is kind of sneaky, sometimes if they have a crown molding, you can pull off the crown molding, drill some holes, notch it, and then put the crown molding back up and hide where the wire was run. Majority of the time though, that's not going to be the case. So you are going to have sheetrock repairs done if you have a floor above you. It's pretty much inevitable. So let me go ahead and get this hole cut for this ceiling fan, and we'll show you how this works out. So first one's done. Still got the drill in there because I want you guys to see how this plays out. So basically, turn the flashlight on here. You can see it's going at a pretty shallow slope here. I mean, it's very, very shallow. But when you get over to this hole, oh yeah, it's right about at the top. So when you're going through more than one joist, it will climb on you. So now, nice thing with these bits, you see it's got a little hole in the middle there. I can reach in there and actually hook a piece of wire on it and pull this back out, and then we can use that wire as a pull wire to pull this back through, because obviously I can't just leave the drill bit in there. And since we're going through what actually ended up being 1, 2, and then 3 joists, getting it to feed through all 3 of those holes is going to be a nightmare. So you want to use this as your pull wire, pull string, pull drill bit, whatever you want to call it. So we'll go ahead and hook a wire on it, get that pulled out, and see about getting this one drilled. So the second one, you see here, we got it drilled through, and let's turn on the torch. There we go. Went through okay, no issues. You can kind of see if I can get the camera up there. You'll have to ignore the weird angle, but oh, that's weird. I actually have a gap below that for some reason. Okay, they have 2 studs. Anyway, you can see how that, you know, kind of gains as you go through each one. So, yeah, go ahead and tie a wire onto the loop there, pull it through. Like I said, we're going to do a 14-3 and a 14-2 going over here. And then we're just going to do the 14-2 is not going to get made up in this box. It's just going to continue through all the way to this. The 14-2 is what we're using for the recess cans. The 14-3, because it's going to carry, they call it 3 current carrying conductors. It's basically 2 hots and a neutral. It's going to be a red, black, and white. The red is normally what you'll hook up to the light of the ceiling fan. Black will go to motor, white is neutral. On the 12-2s, black is power, white is neutral. That's what we're doing for the recess cans. And like I said, that way I have the switch down here. We're going to make this a 2-gang box instead of a single gang. We're going to eliminate this red wire, just cap it off in there, and feed the 14-2 and the 14-3 up. The reason we're doing 14 gauge wire is this is a 15 amp circuit. If it was a 20 amp circuit, we would be using 12 gauge. So, yeah. All right, so the recess lights we're using, kind of gotten away from the whole putting the recess can housing up here and then putting the actual trim on it. A lot of people are going with these slim recess cans now. So honestly, to cut the hole, I just used this little rubber gasket, outlined it on a piece of cardboard, made a template, and used that to cut the holes in the ceiling. They're just about perfect. You don't want to use the actual size of the recess can as the opening, because then it's going to fit through it. Yeah, and it's super easy to hook up. Like I said, you wire it black to black, white to white, ground to ground. They've got these little, you can adjust it to make it whatever color temperature you want. 5 different settings there. And then this just gets screwed into here. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. I'm gonna guess not. Probably not, but you get the idea. I'll stick that up there for now. Basically, once you got that screwed on, tightened up good, one of these will fit over the lip like that. The other one just goes there. Obviously, this wire will be up in the ceiling, and it just pops in, just like that. Super easy. So we'll get the rest of these wired up. Finish running the wires for the ceiling fan. I'll probably get this one wired right now. Get this one wired. And finish running these two wires over here down the wall to the switch. All right, so it worked. We got most of this run without needing to make a bunch of Swiss cheese at the ceiling with holes in it. We did have to make some holes here. When you're doing this, it's a lot better to do one big hole rather than a bunch of little holes. It's easier to patch, and it's gonna look a lot cleaner when you patch one hole that's bigger, because your seams are gonna be a lot more spread out than a bunch of little holes. So you can see here we've got the fan box with the red, the black, the white, and the copper there. And that blue wire, again, this goes all the way through here. The blue is the 14.3, new color code that I think Southwire is doing. I don't know that I don't believe it's a code, but it's just something they're doing that I think they're hoping will catch on. And then the 14.2, obviously we ran from here, did not go in this box because it just fed through the hole that we drilled to this fixture. And then it went in here, and now both of those are fed down the wall to this bigger hole that I've made. I removed the old box, just cut it out. When you're going to a 2-gang from a single gang, it makes it a lot easier because you can just cut this extra area out and then cut the box out, remove it safely. And yeah, so now we're gonna go ahead and wire this up. I'll get the boxing, get it kind of set up, and explain to you how we're wiring this. All right, so if you remember, we had a single switch here. Now, this was the power. Obviously, neutrals were made together. This black wire was also made to the power, and then this red was made to the switch leg. Now, again, this red had power on it, whether the switch was on or off. The blacks had power on it, whether the switch was on or off. So what that tells me is somewhere along the way, someone replaced the plugs, didn't realize one of them was switched. They didn't cut the little tab on the side of the plugs to make it half hot, half not. Half hot, half not. That sounds good. I like that. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cap this off. We're going to make this up to the other hot so that the plugs constantly have power. And then I'm also going to cap off this red. All the neutrals are going to go together. All the grounds are going to go together. This black right here on the 3-wire, which goes to the fan, I'm going to make my second switch. This black right here that comes from the recess cans, I'm going to make my first switch. Not 100% industry standard, but kind of a trade standard. First switch should be your lights, second switch should be your fan. A lot of the times, if the first switch is going to be the light for the fan, they'll use the red one for the light. A lot of the fans nowadays are DC motors, so they only require one power anyways, because they can only be controlled, fan speed control, by a remote, not by a dimmer or a fan speed control. Honestly, that's one of my biggest objections with all these DC fans that they're starting to push through. Government regulation, I'll leave that alone. Anyway, so that's how we're going to wire it. So let me go ahead and get that wired, put the switches on, and test out the recess cans. I got to get the fan put up. Switch works. And I've got to say, the lights look great. Now we've just got to get the fan put up. So I am capping off the red wire for the fan. And these other ones just going to get made up to the white wire for the fan, the ground for the fan, and then the black wire is going to get made up to the 2 wires that are powered. Normally it's going to be a blue and a black. Blue would be your light kit, black is going to be your fan motor. So yeah, pretty much all there is to it. get that wired up, and we'll show you what the finished product. And there you go. Now you have a working ceiling fan, some working recess cans. Like I said, the ceiling fan lights turn on and off by the pull chain. If you want to control them individually, or obviously you could turn off the light switch that controls the ceiling fan, and they'll go off just the same. So yeah, honestly, I did save the piece of sheetrock that came from here, so I'm gonna go ahead and screw that back on. Good practice is to put a piece of wood across this that you can screw to as well. Same thing over here in this side, so you can get it flat when it's time to be patched. Other than that, not a lot more to it. Thanks for joining us on How It's Done, and we'll see you next time.